So you ready? Ready to get to know Michael? All right, here he comes, Michael Bublé. A little more intimate this time.
I was having a sleep.
He's a quick napper.
I had to get up today to be on, I was on Regis and Kelly.
Oh, and
No, not on the TV show, just on Regis and Kelly.
it's his going away present, Regis's.
He was very sweet, he was very sweet.
So, I mean, obviously the reason that we're all here is for the Christmas album. And
Yes.
this is your first full-length Christmas album. And I was just saying, I think to my partner, Jim, your voice is made for Christmas music. Do you feel like that when you sing
I
it?
feel like that too, yeah.
You
I love
know?
it too. I'm really sentimental about it too.
So is that what came about for the album? What
Yeah.
did you finally say, I'm going to do this entire album?
Well, actually, what's interesting is I made the first, after my first record came out on Warner Brothers, I think they wanted, somebody at the record company, I won't mention names, but wanted the second album to be a Christmas album. And I got into kind of a big fight because I felt like that reeked of insecurity. I felt like they wanted to put a Christmas record out that quickly because they thought my career had about another year and a half to it. And so I fought it, and I didn't do it. And what I ended up doing is coming to terms with them and basically putting together a 6-song EP, which a lot of people have bought, but the truth is about the EP was that was really not my Christmas record. And the truth is I walked into the studio, the producer at the time, David Foster, had a track that he'd done with Kenny Rogers, a track that he'd done with Celine Dion, a track that he'd done with Natalie Cole, and a couple other people, and like basically I did karaoke on the record, and it got thrown out there, and I thought, well, whatever, it's a Christmas EP, and then it sold over, I don't know, a couple million copies, and I thought, shit. So, and I wanted to wait till I was really, it was important for me because the Christmas holiday and those songs were a big part of my life growing up, and it was important to me to really to cement my image or whoever I am as an artist before I went and put out that record. I really wanted to get the brand out there, and so it was a huge record. I mean, I still believe, I'll say it over and over again, I still think it's the most important record that I'll probably ever make.
So you must have really enjoyed putting it together then, if it was such a labor of love and something you waited so many years for and you feel so strongly about the songs.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed doing it. And I mean, the way I did Crazy Love, the last record, was very similar, where I tried as much as I could to play live, you know. Any song that I wanted to have authenticity, any song that I wanted to sound like an old school big band sound, we did live off the floor. It's funny because people get confused. They think that they say like, oh, some people will say like, oh, I can hear auto-tune on his voice in this song, and then someone else will say, no, Michael doesn't use auto-tune, but yes, I do use auto-tune.
You do?
Yeah, if I make a pop song, like if I do, say, Cold December Night, or the All I Want for Christmas Is You, the Mariah Carey remake that I did on the record, I want it to sound modern. I want it to sound like the same as all the other songs on pop radio sound. That's why I get guys like Junkie XL or Chris Lord-Alge to go and remix them, because they need to sound like a modern song, a contemporary song. But for anything else, for Silent Night or Jingle Bells or It's Beginning Like Christmas or any one of those big band songs, that's all live off the floor. And what was scary and beautiful was that meant as many as 90 people, all of more than we have here, all sitting in one room and realizing that if one of us makes a mistake, it's over. You know, the take is over. But it also adds a whole bunch of excitement, and you capture sort of the essence of a live performance, and you get the mistakes, and with the mistakes come the natural beauty, and that's how you get authenticity. That's why when I listen back to like my favorite records, the Motown records, or I listen back to old Frank or Dean and stuff, they didn't have Pro Tools, they didn't have click tracks, they couldn't fix it up, so you just got to hear this beautiful raw thing. So you know, the producers had big balls to do it that way. I mean, David Foster and Umberto Gatica and Bob Rock, they didn't want to do it like that because it became more difficult for them. They could control way less of it. And even an engineer that I used, Al Schmidt is his name, the last time he'd made a record like that was, he said, 31 years ago at Capitol. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the classic records. I don't know about everybody here. When I was a kid, you would pile them up on the record player with the big arm. It would be Perry Como and White Christmas and all these wonderful. Is that what you're hoping for? Because we need a new Christmas classic record. Nobody plays
I mean,
that
that's
stuff.
of course. You know what? That's the hope, that you hope that you become the classic quintessential Christmas record. But then, so does everyone. I mean, so does Justin Bieber this year. so does Dashanell this year, and I mean, everybody wants to make that record. And for me, my reasons might be a little different than other people's. The truth is that when I was about 5 years old, and I could even as far as I can remember, the first thing that ever got me interested in music was the Bing Crosby record, and it was just because it would play in the house from late October through to December, and my mother wouldn't play other Christmas albums. We didn't have, we didn't have other Christmas albums. It was that Bing record, over and over and over. So
now they'll play yours?
Yeah, so I got very sentimental about those songs, and I knew them very well. I knew every piece, I mean seriously, I knew even the solos. Every little piece I knew. And so as it got time to do this record, I was so passionate about it. I knew exactly what I wanted. I had sort of gone to the producers and sort of told them, "Is that here, this is what we're going to do." And so I'm really proud of it, and I'm hoping that it works. I'm hoping that people get half as much joy out of listening to it as I did making it.
It's kind of a Christmassy year. We're going to get back to the Christmas album in a little while because you're going to be at the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting as well this year. You have your own Christmas special on NBC, Michael Bublé's Christmas. I believe that's December 6th. So you're really getting into the spirit this year.
You're going to hate my freaking guts by the time Christmas comes. Do you know what's funny? I'm not joking. I walk into Starbucks sometimes, and I'll just say to them, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance, because by Christmas time, you're just going to be going, get this asshole's music off. Because it'll be playing, you'll see. I mean, it hasn't even started yet. I mean, today was actually our first little bit of press that we've started, so you'll
So you're part of it.
You'll understand what I'm talking about. We've got everything from the Christmas specials to even 60 Minutes has done a big thing, so that'll end up, you'll see.
You're a newlywed. Are there any Christmas traditions that you grew up with that you can't wait to start, because this is your first year as a newly married man and your wife celebrating your first Christmas together as husband and wife? Is there a tradition you're going to start this year?
No, the marriage didn't change very much about their tradition. I mean, she's from Argentina, and last year we had Christmas together, and it's her and her family, and they all come to the house. And the only difference is they do Christmas different than we do. They have, we do Christmas Eve, you know what I mean? And then, Christmas Eve's a big party, and then Christmas morning you get up and the Santa Claus comes, and the kids are going crazy and everything, and then we do a big Christmas dinner. Well, they do Christmas Eve dinner, and that's it. It's over.
Done?
Their big celebration really is more New Year's. That's kind of their thing. So Christmas isn't as big of a deal. I mean, honestly, the only song I ever heard at Christmas ever was Feliz Navidad over and over and over again.
Which is why it didn't make your Christmas album?
Which is why it did, yeah. So no, it's the thing I'm really excited about is having kids one day and just watching them spaz out when they, because for me, I mean, I can still. Listen, maybe you're cynical out there, and that's okay too. If you're cynical about Christmas, or you've had tough things happen to you around the holidays, some people that can change the way they feel about it. But for me, my mom and dad love me so much, and my little sisters, and they made it so special that it's hard for me not to get sentimental. And I start to smell it in the air. Like just after Halloween, I can start to feel it, and I get into the spirit. And it's just now it's about watching my niece and nephew and stuff. And this last year, my sister's son, O'Shea, he's 10 years old, and he started to stupidly doubt, Santa. And I felt bad for him. I felt like this cynical little 10-year-old kid, And then, of course, it was crazy because he was like going through his presents, and all of a sudden he looked in the chimney and he found some of Santa Claus's beard. and then
more doubt.
Then he realized, and I was like, yeah, stupid kid, he's real. So that's what I can't wait to do. I can't wait to do that for my kids. My dad used to do it, take us up into this doesn't sound right. He would take us up into the attic. But he would take us into the garage, and in the attic we had our Christmas tree and all the decorations and the outside lights and stuff. And we knew it was Christmas when that happened because the Crosby record would be playing, and him and my mother and my sisters would do the Christmas tree, and I would go outside with him and put up the lights, and it was like, and then the Advent calendar would come out. And do you remember every morning getting one chocolate closer to Christmas? And then getting 2 chocolates closer, but on the same day because you couldn't stop yourself.
And of course, we have this live webcast across the country: New York City, Baltimore, Charlotte, Cleveland, Dallas.
Oh, this is going across?
Yes, this is what you're doing right now.
So then when I swear like that, you're going to have to
Minneapolis, no, it's all live. Sacramento, St. Louis, West Palm Beach.
Well, we should keep that in mind then, Michael.
But, we're taking questions from across the country, and some of them that have come in through Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. Did you want to curse again?
No, I'm sorry.
Right.
No, go ahead. I'll be a good
No,
boy.
it's really just you and me and these people here. Someone wanted to know, Lauren Weissman from New York City wants to know, if you could be a superhero, what would your name be, and what would your powers be?
Well, I've talked about this many times before. This is the easiest one ever. I mean, really, if I could be a known superhero, yes, I would be Spider-Man. But if I could just be a regular superhero, I don't know, what would I don't know, Super Boob or something? I don't know. And my power, the only power I ever wanted was to be able to see through clothes. And then I remember I said that to somebody, and they went like, yeah, well, like that's a good power, but what if you see your mom? And I was like, with great power comes great responsibility.
Let's see, from Dallas, Aubrey from Dallas, Texas wants to know, the video Haven't Met You Yet was in a grocery store. Why? What came up with the whole grocery store thing?
Because I wanted it to be in a place where people actually meet, and I thought that was kind of cool. Actually, the first idea, we had talked to Brett Ratner, do you know who Brett Ratner is? What is Brett?
Tower Heist. He just came out this weekend.
And him and I had sort of come up with this idea that it was going to be almost a very Bjork, like Quiet. Remember the video Quiet, where everything sort of comes to life? And at literally one point, I'd be walking down and I'd see the girl and the soup cans were going to start dancing on the stage, and it was going to get like that. And it changed. I just knew I wanted it to. I literally had gone to the director, Rich Lee, and said, I want this to be like a cross between the song for the video and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, in that float scene in Chicago, where all of a sudden everybody just starts moving and dancing, and it's just, there's confetti and people going nuts. And what happened is they ended up sending me a choreographer to do the whole video, and he ended up he was a student. He was Kenny Ortega's kind of student, and Kenny Ortega was the man who choreographed that whole scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So he gave us the choreography. So if you ever notice, if you ever watch the Haven't Met You Yet video, you'll see that there's almost exact choreography from the Ferris Bueller's Day Off movie, and even down to you'll see someone doing a flip in the background. I mean, it was all. This got even weirder because anyway, the whole dance thing got weird for me this year because that happened. We did the video, and then when I came to do my concert, I wanted to do a Michael Jackson bit in the show, and I wanted to learn just a few Michael Jackson moves. So they hired this kid named Kenny to come and teach me this Michael Jackson stuff, just a few of these moves, the moonwalk and a couple other things. And he was a really sweet kid, and we spent about 3-4 days together hanging out. And then about a month ago, it was a little more than that, but we were driving along, and I saw his face on a bus, and he was on every bus, and it turned out that he got the lead in Footloose, and he's the new star of
So he
Footloose.
wasn't missing?
No. No.
I was concerned for a minute there was an 800 number underneath his face.
He's
Let's
in that
see.
new milk carton movie.